I know. It's a scary little dog over there. Very scary little fluff ball.
She's very anxious when people come to the house. She barks.
Yeah, just kind of general reactivity and stuff.
That's like the only time that
Yeah, you
she
can see
barks.
very timid.
Yeah.
Can you see the leash real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Does she bark like the whole time they're there? Will she warm up eventually, or?
She'll warm up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they're through the door, she's gonna bark the whole time.
Yeah.
If you let her get out to introduce herself to them, then she stops.
You can definitely tell very timid.
Yeah, she doesn't really like jump on them. She gets really excited and might get up a little bit to your knees or whatever, but she doesn't hop up on anybody.
Yeah.
So she just needs to like get introduced to them.
Have you had her around any other dogs?
We tried to introduce her to our neighbor's dogs, but one of them was a little
sassy.
Really aggressive. It just scared her. She's,
Sure.
And then when we go on walks, sometimes if another dog's off leash, we'll like try to have like a little greet, but
What does she usually do?
she acts scared and
Timid around the other dogs as well?
Yeah.
She'll kind of like growl at them, just I don't know, not like super intense, but she's interested to get close. But it's weird if another dog is like 15 feet away,
Sure.
she doesn't even notice. It's almost she'll just go right past it.
Is it just when they're real close?
Yeah, if it's kind of in her lane.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, first things first here, what we're going to do is we're going to try to just establish some baseline communication. Excuse me. So what I want to do is I want to start to get her kind of conditioned to the idea of the leash here, kind of get her understanding kind of that the leash is information. It's not just something holding you back, right?
Yeah.
We'll see if we can get her focusing in with that. And then from there, we're going to start to use that communication to do things like socialization, right?
Yeah.
I say it's very difficult to socialize a dog with people or dogs or anything like that when we don't have an ability to talk to them, essentially, right? Because the problem is, like right now, she's barking. I don't have a means of being able to say like sit or down or no or anything like that because she just doesn't understand those things. So if I put them in a situation where I'm trying to socialize them and then things go wrong, I'm kind of just like fingers crossed, like hoping things go well, you know? So that's what we're going to do here. We'll establish the leash communication. We'll see what we get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to this prong collar in a minute. I'm going to start just randomly walking her around. And then as I do that, I'm going to be, when she gets distracted, applying a little bit of leash pressure in my direction, relieving that leash pressure when she moves with me, right? And teaching her that when you feel this, check in with whoever's at the end of the leash. As she does well with that, I'll start adding some rewards and stuff into it. We'll kind of see what we get, you know? You said she is really food motivated?
Yeah.
Perfect.
She's a big sniffer on walks too. Like going good, good, good. Like not pulling us, like going with our pace.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden sniff
Boom.
something.
Yeah.
Distracted.
And then
And that's kind of the balance of what we want to achieve is we want to tackle the impulse control of can I, whether you want what I have or not, get you to focus in and not do something essentially, right?
Yeah.
And then, you start to realize that certain things are appropriate and you'll get rewarded for those. And I always say the more food motivated the dog is, the easier it goes. I mean, we'll get a lot of dogs that come in here that could give a shit about, food or treats or anything like that. And, it's one of those things where it's not the end of the world. We can still train them obviously, but it makes it a little less fun for them. It's a little bit more difficult for us.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, the food motivation definitely helps, especially if you got a timid dog. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch over and then we're gonna get started here. So again, just kind of walking randomly. There we go. As I'm walking, if she gets distracted by anything, I'm just gonna apply a little steady pressure and relieve that pressure when she starts moving with me. There we go. And there's not really going to be much of a rhyme or a reason to where I'm going. I'm just kind of going the opposite direction of wherever she's trying to go. And I want to teach when you feel this, again, check in. Feel this, check in. Good job. How old do they think she is?
7.
7?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You don't look 7. You look pretty good for 7.
Everyone says,
Yeah.
oh, is this a puppy? We're like, oh, it's not.
Yeah. So, with that, obviously, we're probably dealing with things a little bit more ingrained, which might make it a little bit more challenging, but we work with dogs this old all the time. So.
Yeah, from what we've been told.
Okay, so as she does well with this, what I'm going to do is little by little shorten the leash up, kind of start to turn this a little bit more into like a heel. And she's doing a great job of maintaining focus. So what I'm going to do is kind of start to test her a little bit. So as I'm walking here, I'll kind of go towards things and make quick turns in the opposite direction, make sure she's maintaining focus while continuing obviously to shorten that leash up a little bit. But that's what I want to see, is as I turn, she maintains that focus on me. So whether I'm coming towards you guys and do kind of a quick turn this way or whatnot. Good job.
Off leash, she does a pretty good job in the Metro Park.
Yeah.
Every 7 seconds.
Kind of check in.
Back at us, but not so great on the leash.
Yeah. We'll find pretty frequently that dogs do worse on the leash versus off of the leash, because we try to micromanage the dog a lot more when they're on a leash than we do when they're off of it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, when we're walking in the park and
Yep.
she's 20 feet ahead and she stops to sniff, it obviously doesn't bother us.
Sure. But on the leash, yeah.
That bothers you.
Yeah. And then when the dog doesn't understand that leash, right, then all that pulling on it just creates more frustration, you know, which starts to look like the reactivity and all of that. All right. Good job. Very good. So again, got that leash now just about as short as we need it. Just kind of doing a little bit more healing. Trying to maintain one side there. Good job. Now you're gonna see everything we're gonna do here today is gonna be nonverbal, right? So I'm not gonna be saying sit or down or heel or anything like that, because first and foremost, I wanna establish one very clear means of communication, which is the leash, right? So the direction that I'm pulling the leash in should be the prompt or the command in itself, right? So you're gonna see that as we add in the sits here. When I come to a stop, what I'm gonna do is apply a little bit of pressure up on that leash, and then as she sits down or puts her butt down on the ground, what I'm going to do, come on. Come on. Good. As she sits, I relieve that pressure, and I'm teaching her that when you feel pressure in this direction, resistance isn't correct, but moving with it is correct, right? Okay, so I'll do a couple of those. If I need to give a little bit of help with my hand, I will, but ultimately I want to get her responding just to the leash there. I'm just giving a little direction like that, and then the second her butt hits the ground, I'm relieving that tension, okay? A lot of times with timid dogs or nervous dogs, half of the battle is teaching them not to brace up like that when they feel pressure, right? Okay. Teaching them to move with it and be a little bit more confident in, them having an ability of relieving that pressure on their own. And in this case, we're looking at a physical pressure like the leash, right? But in other cases, it could be the physical, or it could be the spatial pressure of somebody that she's uncomfortable with walking into her space or whatever it may be. She always needs to feel like she has an ability to kind of relieve that, okay? Not in a way where she's reacting. There we go. Okay, you see it's a really quick release. Again, the second that she sits down. There we go, good job. Okay. Same deal, holding it steady, relieving it, okay? Steady, relieving it, okay? Okay. 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 You'll see I'm trying to be really dynamic with the leash here. So I'm starting off as light as I can get, just giving that direction. And obviously, if she responds that, perfect, but as I need to, I could slowly increase it. Okay? A lot of people will jump right into either a ton of pressure or they'll stay too light too quick, as opposed to constantly adjusting based on her motivation. So light, a little bit more is needed, a little bit more is needed, and still maintaining it steady until you get that response. Okay? 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 Do 2 more of these. Okay? Okay? Good. Okay? You can see she's a little less timid about me petting her and stuff because I've gotten her acclimated to just working with me. And also, in addition to that, getting her seeing me not as some sort of threat or anything, but somebody that's ultimately giving direction, you know? Good job. Okay, all right, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the doorways into this, so you can follow me this way.
Do you
And
want her food at all yet?
not yet.
Okay.
We'll probably add it in a couple minutes here. I wanna make sure we have the leash clear first. So with the doorways, what we're doing is we're combining the heeling that we just did as well as the sits that we just did, right? So you can tell just walking up to it, a lot of additional arousal, right? Which is common.
Yeah,
Doorways symbolize just excitement to dogs. There's something at the other side, right?
She gets excited, yeah. She sees a car, she's like, oh,
Yeah, so we're going somewhere, right? So what I'm gonna do is open the door. As I'm opening the door here, what I'm gonna do is apply my pressure, and I'm gonna maintain it steady until I get her all the way into that sit. Like we talked about, being dynamic with that leash as needed, and asking her to maintain that position. Just waiting, relieving. And what I wanna see here is I wanna see her stable in that position while the door is open here, right? So I'm getting a little bit of attention there. She's like, wait, what do you want me to do? Okay. Then I'll release her, walk her in, and I'll do the same thing coming out. You guys can hang out there for a minute. I'm gonna just go in and out a few times. Same process, leash pressure up, getting her into that sit, a little bit easier that time. And then I'm just gonna wait a couple of seconds there, loose on that leash. Okay, and then release her through. And I'll do that a couple of times. Now I specifically put her into the sit after I open the door, because what I want ultimately is I want the door opening to cue her to do that herself, right? I shouldn't have to say sit and then open it and have that sit be the reason why she's staying there, right? I want the door to open, and that just not to mean rushing through. I know, door's scary. Good. Okay, and I'll release her. Okay. I'll try that one more time. Same deal, opening the door, getting her into that sit. Same deal, a lot easier to get her to maintain that now. Okay. Looping around. Okay. Okay, so this next one, I'm gonna have you guys follow me in, and we're gonna do the next gate as well. Opening the door. Maintaining position. Okay, then you guys can follow me in. And then what we're gonna do next here is we're gonna do this gate as well. So same process, additional distractions of dogs being a lot closer now, obviously. Opening my gate, using that leash to maintain a sit. Very good. Okay. As I go in, I'm going to do a turn, get her to refocus in, and then put her back into that sit. Good job. And then I'm kind of exaggerating how long I'm waiting before I release her, obviously. I want to see a real commitment to this is what she's doing. If you move too fast, a lot of times they're not really thinking as much, you know? Okay. I'm going to loop around. I'll do that gate again here. Same deal, additional distraction, this time of a person as well. Still doing really good though. She's giving me some eye contact. Okay. Looping around. And see how much easier that turn was this time as well. Okay. And then I'll do that one more time here. Okay. Are you leaving? No, you can go through. I'll use you as a distraction. Come here.
I have to grab my dog.
Oh.
Do you think I was going to just go home without him?
Okay, yeah, that's true. Hey. Why does he look extra white today? Did you clean him?
Bridget did.
Wow. Impressive.
Give me a bath, though, 'cause I did nails.
Okay. All right. So we're going to give her a quick break here, and I'm going to have you guys start doing some of this. She's doing really, really great so far. So, what you're going to start with is you're going to start with just your basic leash handling here. So you're going to get her on your left side like you have. What I want is I want your arms relaxed, left-hand side.
Okay.
It shorten your leash up quite a bit. Very good. And what I want is that when your arms are relaxed at your sides and you're walking, you could easily apply tension to the side, to up, down, whatever, without needing to like jerk your arm around all over the place, right? So even a tiny bit shorter than that. Very good. And then what I want you to do is just start walking around this general area, and you're going to be enforcing your heel position. So don't let her get too far ahead. I don't want her sniffing, and I don't want her crisscrossing sides or anything. Very good. And then as you get comfortable with doing this, try to just make your pace a little bit more normal. Walk around a little bit more natural of a way. Okay, then do one more little lap around, and then we'll start to add some sits into this.
Doing good, Hannah.
Awesome. All right, so as you're walking now, start to add some sits in. So you're going to come to a stop, apply leash pressure straight up on the leash. Very good. And then the second she gets in, relieve that, then tell her okay and start walking again. Perfect. You see how it's almost no pressure on some of those. You're going to see that we're going to start patterning in that when we stop, she sits on her own. Little quicker on your release. The second her butt hits the ground, I want you to relieve that pressure. Perfect. Just like that. Okay, next thing I want you to adjust a little bit is as you're coming to a stop, I want you to start applying the pressure. So pressure, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what that's gonna do is that's gonna stop her from getting all the way in front of you like that.
Okay.
And it's gonna start getting her stopping in the heel position in the sit. So try a couple like that. So like a step before you stop, start applying. Perfect. You see how that stopped her with you like that? Excellent. Gotta do 2 more of those. Very good. All right, you guys are gonna go ahead and switch now. Same deal, do a little bit of the healing first, then you can add the sits in. And relax yourself a little bit there, and make sure when she's in the heel position that there's no tension on that leash. We only want to be using that leash to get her back into position, right? If we're walking with steady pressure the whole time, that's going to defeat the purpose of her understanding what those off switches are. Very good. 1 more lap around, then you can start adding some sits in. Okay, whenever you want, go ahead and start applying the pressure, get her into that sit. And same deal, a little quicker on that release. The second she gets in, actively relieve that pressure. Very good. And 2 more.
Good.
Yeah. All right, so you guys can switch again. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the doorways back in. So same deal, left-hand side there. So with this one, usually it's easiest to have all of the leash in your left hand, so take all the rest of it, kind of wrap it up a little bit as you need to. Perfect. Then you're gonna walk straight up to this door. Now remember, you're gonna open the door first. As you open that door, you're gonna put her into the sit. Now be aware that you may need to use a lot more pressure for this than you're used to, but use as much or as little as you can get away with. And relieve pressure, then wait for a second. Get her back in, relieve pressure, then say okay and walk through. Then you're just gonna turn around, do another one right there. Great, then I'll close this behind you. I'm gonna have you do that 2 more times. The way we use the prong, it's kind of like an intermediate tool. So we use it to shape all of the commands and the behaviors and stuff like this, but long term, it's never usually the most effective tool. Okay. So it's great for shaping things initially though. Okay, All right, you'll do one more of those. Looking good. Which one of you guys is the Harry Potter fan?
Me.
Nice.
Okay.
Have you been to Universal, like Harry Potter World?
I love it.
It's so cool. First time I went, it was like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. The train between the two.
Oh, yeah.
worlds, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You have to go both ways specifically on it, though. I've had friends go there and be like, yeah, I rode it to the one. I was like, well, did you ride it back? Because it's
Yeah,
different.
Right.
Very good. All right. I would give her an A. She did really good with all of that. So,
River?
biggest things to work on, obviously, right now are going to be just starting some of this basic communication. And this stuff you'll see is less like sit down and do 15, 20-minute training sessions a day, and it's more like how do you apply this to your day-to-day, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you're going through doorways, it should be like that, right? Anytime you're walking, it should be in the structured heel for now, right?
Yeah.
And obviously you can give her bathroom breaks and things like that along, but you need to make sure in these new environments that you're going in that you can get control first before you start giving freedom, right? That way you know when you're giving the freedom, you could easily get that control back if you need it, right? So obviously working your heeling, working your sits, working your doorways, stuff like that. Just apply it to your day-to-day and just start getting comfortable in having her do those things. When you're seeing distractions present, sit or heel, you know, just get her to maintain those positions. Sit's usually a little bit more clear, so usually I'll try to use that, kind of like what we did when the dogs were coming out and stuff. But you want to kind of just go through the motions like that.
Okay.
Do you guys have any big questions on any of that?
I don't think so.
Obviously, we didn't really use the rewards yet. We'll use them next time. She did fine without them for now. So,
I like that it's nonverbal.
Yep.
Because like
Initially,
some of the times
yeah.
we're on hikes and I'm like, should I be saying let's go or
Yeah.
leave it or come on or just
people
come, mean come
overthink
to
the
me?
words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where in the end of the day, I would say the words are irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
Like words are just cues. So I could teach sit to be pineapple, if you know what I mean? Like it's just, you know, what does that word mean, and do you hold it to that criteria, right? So words are irrelevant. You know, obviously we have a specific set of them that we'll use, but initially the physical muscle memory is what's important, because if I can't physically get the dog to do these things, saying a word is useless, because what if I say sit and she doesn't do it then? What do I do? Repeat myself? Say something else? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not very beneficial usually. So, but I mean, that was wonderful, you know, from kind of reacting a little bit and stuff to calm down a little bit. She's falling asleep sitting down.
Yeah.